Today we're going to talk about why the StarShip full stack failed. Okay guys, thanks for joining me. So we're talking about the StarShip full stack launched on 4/20. Pretty funny that it would launch on this day, but Elon has his reasons. So I have my StarShip jersey. This is a Houston Astros Space City jersey. I got it embroidered with SpaceX. And why the number 39? 33 engines on the booster and 6 on the StarShip makes for 39 engines. So it seemed like the right number to go with. So we're going to take a look at this video. This is the SpaceX version of the video, and I'm going to talk you through it as I go. Basically, we have failure of the hydraulics, so I'll point that out. And also, a lot of these engines went down. So we had 3 engines right off the bat shut down. Then later on, 4 engines, 5 engines, 6 engines, I think up to 7 or 8 engines out. And so that was the reason that it didn't get to its full trajectory. Overall, this was an absolutely fantastic launch. It succeeded in a lot of ways. It got off the pad. It did not completely destroy the infrastructure, although there's quite a large crater under the launch mount now. It did get to max Q, and it almost got to separation. We'll talk about that in a minute. And here we go. Great drone view here as we light up the engines. And then about 6 or 7 seconds later, it is throttling up and getting off the pad. They had actually released the clamps about 15 minutes before launch, and you can see it slowly gets off the pad. It kind of does a sideways slide maneuver to get away from the tower, probably to avoid making contact with the tower. And there it goes above the plume of dust. As you can see, as it comes through, it goes into the cloud layer. Right here, look at the base of the booster. You'll see a bright flash and some debris, and then a white light right where the hydraulic power unit was. That is probably failure of one, or I wouldn't say all the hydraulics, because it actually maintained its trajectory with hydraulic power for about another minute and a half or 2 minutes. So I think that was one of multiple hydraulic power units, and it's probably now starting to lose hydraulic power. Straight off takeoff, it had already lost 3 engines. We're already down to 4 engines there, but as they get to the other view, you'll see many more engines are actually down. When we can zoom in here, we actually see 6 engines already out. Here's a better view. You can see 5 of the outer ring and 1 of the center. 3 is out. I don't know why that doesn't mesh with the display on the screen. Perhaps at any moment they were trying to restart those engines. There it seems like they're doing quite well, flying pretty smoothly. And again, it looks like they're on trajectory, except you don't have the full power of the 33 Raptor engines. You only have 28 of them, or perhaps 27 of them. So we're not getting as fast as we need to get, and we're not getting to the altitude we need to get. But right here, it's already set records for going over 12 kilometers, higher than other previous flights. Here, as you see the bright flashes, those are probably a failure of an engine or something like that. You can see a bright flash there, and there's more. So we have probably a couple more engines suffering failures there. As we go to the onboard camera, you can see the grid fin on the right. This is when we seem to lose control. We go to this camera. This may mean that they were thinking about doing the separation between the booster and the StarShip. But you can see how the vehicle is starting to pitch over. And at this point, unless they're getting ready to separate, which they probably aren't because they're not fully out of fuel on the booster, it is starting to pitch over, and I think this is the loss of hydraulic control. At some point here, they do want to separate the StarShip from the booster, but I do believe the separation mechanism is also hydraulically powered, so they don't have that capability to separate the booster from the StarShip. Here you can see it tumble over and over, which is a testament to how strong the vehicle is. It didn't break up, and it didn't separate by force. So those hold down clamps that hold the stages together are quite impressive. You can see that it's at 39 kilometers here, but you'll see that altitude start to drop as the vehicle is not making any more forward progress up into space. You can see the altitude dropping 38 kilometers, and here it's just tumbling and tumbling. They're basically out of fuel. They can't separate, so they do activate the flight termination system in about 20 more seconds. But the tumbling is really a testament to the strength of the vehicle. Now down to 34 kilometers, 33, and we're coming up on the termination. You'll see the termination will hit the booster, and then shortly thereafter, there's the StarShip. So overall, a fantastic test. It did get off the launch pad. It didn't collide with the tower. It did dig a crater under the launch mount, but otherwise didn't cause any other damage. It did get to max Q. That's very impressive. It did not break apart as it tumbled through the air. Let's take another look at T plus 30 seconds. You can see the bright flash with some debris and the bright light on that hydraulic power unit. Here we're slowing it down. You can see the flash of an engine nearby, some debris, and then a bright light at the hydraulic power unit. That was probably a failure of one or more hydraulic power units there. So this hydraulic power unit failure and also the fact that a lot of the engines were out did not let it accomplish its actual correct trajectory. And I think it lost the ability to steer from hydraulics and lost the ability to separate from hydraulics. The good news here is that the next booster they've already eliminated the hydraulics, and they've gone to a full electric control of all the gimbaling and hopefully the separation mechanism as well. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching. So don't forget to hit click and subscribe and share this with your friends. We'll see you on the next launch.